What's up, Lorehounds? It's Koopa here. We're inside Wargaming.net's booth, the makers of World of Tanks, which we've covered before, but we're actually here for World of Warplanes, your new and upcoming game. We just got to see some sneak peek behind the scenes stuff, and it looks great. Fantastic so far. What are you guys doing differently to draw in the World of Tanks players and new players too?
Well, World of Warplanes obviously is following the successful concept of free-to-play PvP combat game for the guys, but there are some twists. Well, the biggest twist probably is the fact that United States of America by all means is a warplane culture country as much as Russia is a tank culture country. So tanks museums, yes, you have a couple of those, but airplane shows, museums, those are like hundreds. So we expect that there are a lot of enthusiasts of aerial combat in World War II, you know, Mustangs and Battle for Britain and battles in the Pacific area. That's what will draw people's attention in the first place. That's how they will be getting into the game, to see those legendary, you know, warplane models.
So this is Victor Kislyi, by the way, the CEO of Wargaming.net. And you guys have done the free-to-play model, and you've done great with World of Tanks. Now you're expanding out on that model and bringing it to World of Warplanes, but are you guys adding anything in terms of the business model, or are you kind of using the same, what's been so successful for you so far?
It's a good question, thank you. We probably are not going to add any significant things because monetization model in World of Tanks is working well. Our players admit it in Russia, in Europe, and in America, even in China, that the model is smooth. So we are not squeezing money out of our players, and the checks are within a movie ticket kind of range.
So in World of Warplanes, we do the same thing. We earn XP for the matches, we win. We do better, we earn more, and then we kind of go through and we collect. And that's a big thing for you guys, where we have this collection mindset, which Americans love collecting things. We have a lot of junk in our homes, if you haven't noticed. So now we're going to do that with our World of Warplanes garages. So we collect a whole bunch of planes. Do we have any idea how many you're shooting for right now in all the different tiers?
Well, good news for us is that there are only about 300, maybe 400 different tank models. But warplanes, there are thousands. And not only major World War II nations had decent warplanes, also, you know, smaller nations like Hungary, like Italy, Sweden, Czech, so there are much greater variety of warplane models.
So you guys are just kind of picking the core from each, you know, area, each air force?
Of course, we have to start the release version with decent amount, but not all of them. So we're looking at, of course, Soviet, German, American. We also will try to do British and the Japanese. And again, the setups will not be 100%.
So World of Warplanes, we're going to have the same battles, 15 on 15?
Yeah, right now 15 on 15 looks optimal. We need to make sure that the battles are really short, like 5-7 minutes on average, because otherwise you get bored. So you'd rather, I don't know, get killed or kill someone and your team wins or loses. In the bigger picture, it does not matter that much.
You mentioned there are thousands of warplanes that you guys can choose from, and obviously you can't start with all those, but you're going to be adding them in. However, in World of War Tanks, you guys had a pretty clear cutoff where you went from the World War II era, maybe some World War I's, and then you kind of ended before you got some more modern tanks because of the balance. Where is that point in World of Warplanes?
In World of Warplanes, we start in the 30s with those, well, funny and slow biplanes. Not quite World War I, it's more of a Spanish Civil War. And we end up Korean War jets. So there will be no jets with homing missiles and electronics big time. There were more of a classical rockets, like, you know, straight shooting rockets and guns and cannons.
Kind of the earlier jets is where you guys cut it off,
yes,
with the very primitive missile weapons just on rail straight. So you still have to have that ability to fire and aim.
It still is a dog fighting.
Right. Yeah, it's not a missile that just homes and kills everything.
Yes.
One of the first questions I had when you guys first put up the trailer is World of Tanks was very heavy on the terrain, using that to your advantage, and also just completely changing the strategy for the game where you go left instead of right, or you go up the middle, you use a building to block. That was just such a strategic core that offered so much replayability that was just inherent to the level design. How is that being handled for World of Warplanes?
Of course, warplane combat is obviously different. It's a 3D space. You never stop. There is no way you can hide in a bush or wait behind a corner. So you're always on the move like a shark, but that gives it a beauty. So it's a different game. World of Warplanes is not a World of Tanks in the air. It's World of Warplanes. Also, we try to a little bit, maybe unrealistically, bring the dogfighting closer to the ground, and the variety of maps we're going to propose is amazing. We're going to have hills, cliffs, canyons. You can use canyons to outflank the enemy air force. So also there will be ground targets like fuel tanks, ships, moving tanks, trucks, trains, headquarters. So you will be tied to the ground a little more than in realistic dogfighting, so that you can hide, you can go around the corner literally, or you can go up in the clouds and you will be invisible. If you attack from the sun direction, your enemy also has hard times seeing you, and ground targets your team will have to take care of. That all will kind of bring this terrain presence, well, not so much as in tanks, but enough to make it really wide range of tactical and strategic possibilities.
So by kind of shrinking down the Z-axis that we can use to a more lower level, and then adding in these larger terrain features and handcrafted maps, you're seeking to still have some of that terrain tactical combat added. And then the ground objectives you mentioned are kind of, you need to defend these central points, and if your team loses it, that's also another way to lose the map.
Yes. I want to tell you one thing. Yes, the historical warfare or aerial warfare connoisseurs may criticize us a little bit for this unrealistic bringing it closer to the ground, as one example. However, the philosophy of our company, and it worked very well in World of Tanks, by the way, is this. Whenever we have a possibility to trade some little bit of historical accuracy or realism for fun to play aspect, we probably choose fun to play. Don't forget, this is not a historical campaign recreation. This is a fun to play PvP fast blast game. Our first priority is to let you have a lot of fun on a regular basis, like for years.
So World of Warplanes, when is it coming out? We're in pre-alpha right now. We got to see some behind-the-scenes stuff. You'll get some sneak peeks at that. But when are we, as players, going to start being able to get our hands on this in some capacity?
As a company, right now we're in a position to actually release things when they are ready. But we are not going to unnecessarily drag this thing. There is no official date yet. Right now we're in so-called global closed alpha. So more of an open public kind of beta. We are planning for E3 time plus or minus a couple of weeks. I cannot give you my word now, but we're really working hard to make that happen around E3.
Thanks, Victor. It looks great. The graphics are good, nice and smooth, and I can't wait to get in there and start dogfighting. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.